My name is Ian Walsh, and this is Masters of the Market. And this time, we are going to be joined by somebody that's not actually in real estate, but he really should be everybody in real estate's referral partner or partner. Tod Holland from Funnelology, a absolute guru in social media marketing. Thank you, Tod, so much for being on this interview.
Hey, thank you guys for having me, Ian, George. Greatly appreciate it. Yeah, this is a fantastic opportunity. I'm happy to help any way I can.
Okay, thank you much. And I also am joined, as you said, by George Beatty, who I'm like looking in the background to make sure he's not photobombing our video here, which is possible, George. Everybody knows that, right? So Tod, and you came highly recommended from George. Both of us run really good, solid businesses in our area. Both of us have extremely pronounced social media presences, but you have the two biggest guys in the area coming to you saying, how do we do better? How do we do more? So I want to give this information to everybody, and we have so many realtors and investors on our list that are going to see this, but honestly, I did it for selfish reasons, and I'm sure George did too. I came here for information, and so let's talk about your average person that comes to you in, say, the real estate industry at this point. They're going to have maybe a baseline of this is what they do on Facebook, or this is what they do on Twitter, or whatever. What do you normally see, and what do you see as some red flags that people could improve on? What's a pretty common client at this point?
Ian, I think across the board, what we see is prescribed failure. What I mean by prescribed failure is that everyone who's in real estate who is now doing Facebook or doing social media is doing so at the behest of their broker, who's doing so at the behest of their overall their association of realtors, and then that's who is eventually getting information from NAR. And there's nothing wrong with any of these organizations, but if you figure there's over 2 million agents in this country, around 400,000 in my market alone, if everyone is doing the same thing, regardless of how good it was at one point, it no longer works. It's saturated. So the average person, and this is the most dangerous thing, is not knowing what you don't know. The average person says, well, I was trained to do this, and the hardest habit to break and the hardest realization to make is that to come to is that inevitably a big chunk of what does or what isn't working for you isn't working for a lot of people. So that it's a matter of breaking those bad habits and getting into some very good ones, and utilizing Facebook not so much as a diary, not so much as a way to kind of air out your grievances against your boss or your ex, or everyone uses Facebook kind of. People go through life unintentionally. This is a mentor of mine and a very respected person, Ryan Stewman, who I spend a lot of time learning under, says the same thing. People go through Facebook in life unintentionally. So the idea is to turn Facebook away from a social experience for yourself if you can, because if it's used as a social experience, it's kind of toxic anyways, right? You're kind of worried about all the negative stuff and what people think, and turn it into a high-powered CRM, a high-powered lead generation system, a conversion mechanism, a referral partnership, a way to drip out your own message to a highly targeted sphere of people. So I think that the people who are doing things right are the people who do it with intention. The people who are doing things wrong that I have to coach people away from are doing things with someone else's intention that doesn't necessarily reflect their brand or their client base, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, that's a really good answer. So that's typically what you see when a client normally comes to you. A prescription for failure is where they are. And then you look at it and say, okay, how do we adjust that? That's an interesting concept to think of. And that's right. I mean, that's all Facebook is, right? Is just, and it's interesting. You go through life without intention, and that's what Facebook truly is for most people right now. And you can see the difference when people have intention too. I think that sticks out pretty substantially. So,
absolutely, yeah. So
then my next question would be, what do you do? I come to you, and then what happens next? I'm one of those people. Let's say I have no intention. What kind of intention can you give me from a social media perspective? What can we do, or what should I expect?
Well, essentially, it comes down to being systematic. Anything in life can be boiled down to a process or a system, and if it can't boil down to a process or a system, it's frankly not worth spending one's business attention on. Facebook is one of those things. It's very similar to that. You can either take it for face value at a social network, or realize to some degree, and this is an important point, that the people who are on Facebook are not the users of Facebook. They're the products of Facebook. The users of Facebook, the customers of Facebook, are the people who run ads. And more insidiously and probably more effectively, and I've seen the way the social media presence that you guys have, and it's almost more effective to do it this way, is to build an organic database of people who follow you. anything in the world, including just being a real estate, even just a single agent, not a broker, just single agent in a large market full of other agents, which is exactly what we have a lot of in California, 400,000 agents in this market. Any agent has to have a following to be effective, and that to be prolific to be effective. Some of the main mistakes, and again, not to harbor on the negative and in replacement of focusing on the positive, but posting your listing as soon as you get them, saying, you know, hashtag just got a listing, hashtag up and running. So think about it this way. Does a doctor say like, oh, just did a vasectomy? No, that doesn't happen. Does someone at Walmart, for example, who like just sold a sack of diapers, like just sold some Huggies, hashtag balling? No, of course not. That's ridiculous. So why should we do that? We're all better than that. We need to act better than that. You know what I mean? We're all better than just being the stand run the mill. So you know, these kind of hard truths are the first wave of, I guess, change in anyone's business. From that point on, it goes down to methodology. And some things that we recommend people do is go through their friends list every day, see whose birthday it is, and add that person to a specific list. Now, Facebook gives you, you know, the benefit of having multiple segments to your own friends list, almost like different lists in the CRM, which again, I should treat it like a CRM because it has the capacity to be one. Have one list of like your hot current clients, one list of your past clients, one list of referral partners, and one catch-all list of your friends. So you can still have friends on Facebook, but you can separate out the important parts of your business and really focus down into it. I post maybe 6 or 7 times on Facebook per day, but each person will only see my post one time because they're each a member of a certain list, and I post to each list one time. So I'm being, and not just myself, I'm training the people who work with me to be prolific across their entire base in a very targeted way. And I think that's the key. The name of the game in Facebook is being targeted, being, again, intentional, being targeted, and having a systematic approach to generating leads and generating business beyond just promoting yourself, but also promoting the results that you offer and a culture around those results, if that makes, you know, any sense.
That's really
big
cool.
answer.
I didn't even think of that. I mean, you're right. Like, you know, I've got, George, you probably have 1 billion friends on Facebook. I've had 5,000, right? That's the max, right? And, you know, I have a lot of people on there that are my friends that I know. Some I don't, some I do. It just depends. I met them somewhere at a networking event. I don't know them. I don't know. But, you know, the reality is I don't categorize them. It's a little bit, you know, let's call my marketing more like vomit at times, where I just kind of throw it up and, you know, whoever's there. And I'd like to become better at that, as I'm sure anybody would on this. You know, I'd say we have, from what we do, a pretty good social like following, but I know it can be better. And I think that the client, though, would appreciate it more if they were targeted with information more relevant to them, right? I mean, that's the game, is having relevant information in front of the user specifically. So if I came to you, you guys would be focusing on something like that. Or now, do you tailor your clients to, hey, this is where we are, this is where we want to get to, or is there like a package, or how do you guys do it?
Right, and so there's a number of ways, and everything I've kind of gone into today has been organic. And when I'm referring to organic, I'm talking about non-paid. So you're not generating leads via ads or anything like that. The main bread and butter of funnel gene that I teach is, you know, get the organic side down first. Once you have the organic side down, you understand how sales are made on Facebook, how people are engaged. It's very different than on the phone. It's very different than even being, you know, door to door. Is the whole, I mean, as they say, sliding into the DMs. That's a very nuanced approach to talking to people, because it's almost like, you know, a violation, but it's not, because it's a public entity and a public network. Once they have that, we really drill down. Okay, what do you need as far as tools to generate leads en masse, kind of through your community? And the number one tool that most people need is a funnel. A funnel is essentially, and just a very, very quick overview, it's a process of disqualifying one's leads through pushing them through a series of steps through a website, an opt-in, a survey, email marketing, text message marketing, until you really get down. And it's almost shaped like a funnel, because at the first step, this many people are qualified, and then this many people, and this many people. At the very end of it, you got maybe a small handful of people who are at this point gone through the whole process of answering all your questions, giving you all the information. They're very ready. And they raise their hand and say, okay, I'm at this time, I'm ready to talk to somebody about my needs. And that's a very, very different dynamic structurally as an inbound lead compared to someone who you have to reach out to and say, are you ready to talk to me? Because when they reach out to you, you can run a certain sales process that, you know, I won't be named here, but it's very effective, where you find out what their intention is in reaching out to you, ask them questions, you talk them through the pain, you close them, and then you help them make a decision on the best way to go. And so that's ultimately the structure of everything. I mean, look, I'll be honest with you guys. The idea of a funnel is very old. I mean, funnels existed before the internet existed. It was just done a different way, mailers and stuff like that. But nowadays, we have this benefit of having this just incredibly immersive and just targeted and almost like unethically informative marketing platform. We can find out, you know, the chemical composition of the last sneeze that somebody makes. Like, that's how targeted some of this data is. And so it's like, at the end of the day, what we're doing is we're using that for good. I mean, the wholesalers are doing a good thing. People need to get out of their bad situations with respect to owning their homes. When you approach it in this way, I think the funnel is probably the most ethical, it's the most targeted, the most cost-effective way to help people, because you're not reaching out to them, you're not violating their privacy, you're giving them the opportunity to say, look, I understand the situation, I understand what's working, what's not working. Reach out to me, and I want to help you. And then it's, you know, your clients are happier because the clients who actually deal with it are inbound, they're reaching out to you. The results are going to be better in terms of a business model, in terms of conversions, ROI, scalability, and things like that. And at the end of the day, you're not like precipitating a negative image of the real estate industry, where we're all kind of like looked at as a half step above car salesmen, even though we all want to do good. People are worried about being sold to. So the idea of the funnel is to remove the sales from sales and to add the support to it. And of course, through support comes loyalty, and through loyalty comes profitability in all contexts, in all ways, right?
So that's a really good, interesting answer. So you're right, and so I'm very familiar with funnel software that you're probably leaning towards. We actually use a pretty good one, a pretty famous. I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people know about it in our company now. So I'm very famous with the data, familiar with the data that you can click through to get to that moment of impact, but so it feels, I guess, slightly invasive. And when you're like, wow, they have that much data. It is what it is. You clicked on this, you clicked on that, and eventually it led you to here. But the concept of what you say, which is really interesting, which is the moment that they're ready, it's not invasive, and it's on their time, really, right? It's on that person's time, because they've basically gone through the funnel and said, now I'm ready. Now I'd like to talk to you, is the moment that you have them, which goes back to, who's the famous marketer, like guru? Seth,
which one?
Godin, what's his name?
Seth Godin.
That's it. Yeah. Right. And he had this really good concept, which was like, he hates commercials because it's forced information to somebody who didn't sign up for it. That's what a commercial is. Yeah. So he's like, we're taking that away. The future of marketing is taking that feeling away from people, which you said basically in another context in this conversation. So that's really good. I really love the concepts that you're putting in front of people. If we were to leave with one thing that everybody could go away with today to do tomorrow, what would you leave them with? That's not highly crazy off of that they can't do.
So what I'll recommend is something that requires no tech skills whatsoever, other than just understanding how the Facebook platform works. We're not talking about building websites, we're talking about building funnels, and this is kind of, it's almost like the guy who sells cars saying don't buy a car, which is kind of what I'm saying. Is to start out, you don't need a funnel to start out. You really don't. The most important thing you can do for your business with respect to using social media for as a real estate professional is develop a system. Develop a system in which every single day you don't neglect to post at the prime time social media, which, as we know, are 7:30 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning, noon, 4:30 in the afternoon, and 6:30. I've got a book on this. I'm happy to make it a free download for any viewer on the show if they want to download it and review these things. I'll hopefully post a link in the bottom, but post at the right times. Take advantage of the segmentation that we mentioned right here. Every day, what you should do every day is wake up on Facebook with a plan to do 3 tasks, okay? 3 different things. The first thing you're going to do is segment your friends list. So different people get different messages that are more conducive to their own success. The second thing you're going to do is develop a structure of what kind of content you want to post to each person at each time to best resonate with what they're looking for. As someone I'm a real estate broker, I'm a loan officer as well as building the funnels, my duties as a loan officer, of course, I'm going to be promoting my stuff toward other realtors. What I would post to encourage other realtors to work with me is by no means what I'd post to homeowners to work with me on the real estate capacity. So these are dual messages, so it's important to have one message for each segment base. That's the second thing you do. The third thing I'd recommend that you do is understand the nuance of selling on Facebook. Understand that what people normally do when you say selling on Facebook is they'll go drop like this pre-typed up message, like this block of text into a direct message to someone that's all they change is the name And it's almost like, at this point, it's that is probably the most offensive way to sell it to somebody, because it's almost like, I mean, right, we've all been there. This person who's like, oh, 40 mutual friends, this guy's probably legit. He adds you, and he adds you to his, he tells you to like his Facebook page, and he adds you to his group, and then he hits you with this DM like, hey, I'm in It Works now. Not to rag on It Works, but like those kind of things. Like, that's what gives, I think, social media sales a bad name. So instead of focusing on things like that, don't make it a numbers game in terms of how many leads you can generate. Make it a numbers game in terms of how many relationships you can create, how many followers you can create, how much content, how much good you can put out there to make people want to come back. And do I have time for like a 2-minute story on this topic? Okay, so there's this thing called a benevolent salesperson. It's a well-known kind of old sales story. If you guys are familiar with it, you're probably going to appreciate this. But there's a vacuum salesman. And so what this vacuum salesman does, he goes door to door, and he drops off. He knocks on the door. He's like, hey guys, I'm in the area. I'm with ABC Vacuums. I've got this bottle of carpet cleaner for you. I want to just leave it here. I'll walk away. No worries. I want to leave this with you. Use it to treat your carpet. I notice you have some pets. They walk away. So you leave this carpet cleaner with the prospect, and then for free. And all you say is, would it be okay if I came back in a couple days and checked in to see how it's working for you? No commitment, just, can I come back? Can we talk about this in a couple of days? You get some people who are going to load their shotguns, they get off my front porch, and that's just the way it is. Some will, some won't. But the majority of people will say, well, this is an earnest gesture. Yeah, for sure. I'm happy to take this and come back in a couple of days and we'll talk about it. So the guy comes back and he knocks on the door. He's like, hey, how'd the carpet cleaner go? Like, oh, great. Yeah, remove that stain that Spot made on the carpet and all that stuff. But, and he says, well, I've got this great countertop cleaner, because who doesn't need clean countertops? So again, he leaves it with them, same pitch. Can I come back in a couple days? And can I ask you how it's going? You just let me know how it is. I'm not here to sell you anything like that. So he goes back out there, and they say, oh, it's fantastic, stuff like that. And he's like, well, great. And they say, but you know what? Because now there's trust, there's loyalty, there's friendship, there's a relationship that's been established there. So you know what, though, man? It's my vacuum is just killing me. It's just not working the way I want it to. He says, well, listen, I'm a vacuum salesman. I'm not going to come and like pitch you the vacuum. How about I come and I vacuum your floor for you? And this is like kind of a funny thing to think about on a day-to-day basis. Let me just, demo the vacuum, see if it works. And of course, it's a good vacuum. We're real estate professionals who are actively on this podcast trying to get better at what we do. So none of us have a bad product. We all have a great product. We have a good service. We have something that makes us great. Demo that service, add value in that way, so that whenever it comes time for someone to actually need a vacuum or a home or a mortgage or get rid of their own home, who are they going to think about? The guy who's doing this pose with his company name on the billboard outside of the house, or is it going to be the guy who's constantly come by and made an earnest effort to make this person's life easier? And 9 times out of 10, it's going to be your great aunt Gertrude is going to get the deal, but Gertrude's not going to get everything right. So eventually someone's going to, you're going to reach out to this person who's been adding the value. And so the takeaway there, I realize very long story, and I apologize for how long it went on, but the takeaway there is that at the end of the day, the more value you can add to your client base, the more, we call them lead mags, the internet marketing business, but really it's just items of value, free items of value to get people loyalty that they can actually use effectively. That's the future of marketing. It's not about how many phone calls you can make any longer, because everyone else is making the same number of phone calls. It's not necessarily about how many doors you can knock. It's about how much value you can add to the greatest number of people, so when their time comes, you're the first person they think of. And social media is, in my opinion, the only vessel that can do that for you in a way that doesn't actually cost you any of your own time or money or anything like that. It's just there. Everyone's using it. The average person spends over an hour on Facebook, with like younger generation spending close to 2.5 hours, statistically speaking. That's where, hell, when commercials come on, when the advertisements come on the TV, what do people do? They don't stand there looking at it. They pull this thing out, they get on Facebook, and they start looking through what their friends are saying. And that's you. You're their friend, because you're the one who's adding their value, making their life easier. So that's a takeaway. I think that's amazing. That's amazing. If you're a good person, be a good person on social media. That's what it comes down to.
So what you're saying is basically what you're doing is you're hiding the salesman, you're providing value, giving away free shit, and then like sort of sending people to your blog post, as opposed to, so like what I was doing when I started running Facebook ads, I had a picture of like a really nice house. So like all I deal with is like shitholes. A lot of them are in the hood. So I had a picture of like a really nice house, and I said, sell your house as is right now for cash. And like, that was the whole ad. Right. So instead of doing something like that, you would say, hey, have some carpet cleaner, which whatever it is for your industry. You know, your free carpet cleaner could be like getting your house ready to sell it guide or something.
Exactly.
Like that,
right?
right?
5 things you didn't know about selling your home to an all cash person, or
Awesome.
5 ways. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
great. And then you get them on an email list. You hit them with blog posts over a period of time, and then you wait for them to hit you back instead of just, you know, aggressively hitting them with that. I think that's a really great tip.
Yeah, I think the concept is amazing. I think the first thing that's ever happened during one of these interviews, and I've done a lot of them, I took notes. I took legit notes. So you were writing stuff, and I'm like,
Ian's over here like,
I don't really want to. I was like, I don't want
Scribbling
to
it
watch
all
this
down.
again because I don't want. I hate watching myself on video. I was like, so I better remember this right now. So I wrote it down. So that's legit stuff. I think anybody that doesn't call you after this interview might as well just decide they don't like money and get out of the business. So.
And one more thing, if I can, what we're rolling out to, just in the concept of free carpet cleaner, what we're rolling out, if I can plug this, if not, you definitely want to cut this out of it. But I'm doing a free social media boot camp for any agent who wants to do it, any wholesaler who wants to do it. It doesn't cost you a penny. I don't expect anything from you guys. It's literally the way this works. You sign up with me to do this thing on this form. Like, no salesperson reaches out to you because, again, I practice what I preach. I try to. And you get a daily email every day at 6 o'clock in the morning that tells you exactly what you have to do this day on social media. Go through your birthdays, segment them. Go to your groups, post to them, add some more groups, add some more friends, segment them out. Every single day, you do the same thing. It becomes a habit. When it becomes a habit, it's no longer a new thing you're doing. It's simply a component of your day, like eating breakfast, right? Riding a bike, getting up in the morning, taking a shower. You do these things, and you internalize them. It doesn't have to be exactly what I teach, but you internalize the method behind it. So that's one thing that anyone who wants to do it, I'm going to give these guys the link. They log in, fill out a form, and then they're in. And then they're constantly getting the emails 5 days a week, Monday through Friday.
You'll send me the link. I'll put it in the email for everybody.
You got it. Absolutely. Yeah.
I love it.
It's called the Agent Accelerator Program. So that's what it is. Free, 100% free. There's no upsells, nothing like that. Just, go and do better, be better, and see more fulfillment out of what you're doing through your day. That's
I'll vouch for it because I'm going to be, once you give me the link, I will put my email on there. So I like the concept. I think it's genius. And I see what you're doing there. You're practicing what you preach. It's perfect. So really, really great conversation. In general. So
thank you.
How do I get a hold of you besides the link that's going to go in here? How do we get a hold of you?
Yeah, I mean, the quickest way, as I always say, is shoot me an email, info@funnelog, that's FUNNELOGY, OGY.io. Sometimes I can't spell. I apologize. I just sell houses.
We'll put a link in the description here so you guys don't have to worry about spelling. You can just fucking click right on it and you're good.
Life is easy, man. And so my website, my blog, all these different things. But at the end of the day, it's a Facebook marketing world, and it's a Facebook marketing show. So find me on Facebook. Connect with me directly as a friend. I'm happy to add you. If you have any questions about what you need, just reach out to me. At the end of the day, it's like no one's here to get rich. We're all here to help the business get better. So if you have any questions, just reach out. I'm sure I'll be able to answer them.
You got it. George, how do we contact you, my friend?
GeorgeBeatty.com. Hit me up.
Love it. I love it.
Rock and roll.
Ian at Hard Money Bankers and Ian Walsh, probably where you're seeing this on Facebook to begin with. Thanks, guys.
Cool.
Thank you.